Hi guys, welcome back to the next video. It's been a little while that I've had the Prusa I3 MK2, as you can see over there, busy printing. Now, the first thing I did when I got it was do most of the test prints. So I'm going to just go through them now and show my results with it. So first off, the batarang, that was the first thing I did. Oh, get rid of a crumb. Really hard to do this when you're looking through the screen. Okay, so the batarang, so smooth. So the back side of it, this bit here is just like, just can't even describe how smooth it is. Not one ridge you feel. I mean, you can see the layer lines, but you actually can't feel anything at all. So turn that over. On here, you can almost feel them. Maybe if you run your nail along them, but barely, and it's still very smooth to the touch. So it came out so nice. Took about 39 minutes, I think, around 30-40 minutes to print. Well, you think it would take quicker, but obviously it's going slow because of the it's only got a tiny bit of infill in it, and it's mostly top and bottom layers. But overall, very happy with that. Okay, next one we did after that one, and I must say also the edges so sharp, so perfect. And these things I actually tested throwing them at some like boxes of paper, and it actually did pierce through, so pretty cool. Next one, simple Prusa logo. Again, just glass smooth on the back there. You can see where the layer lines go up to the border. Any imperfections you see, so for example, it looks like it's kind of imperfections along there, but it still feels glassy smooth, so I'm not sure exactly what is showing on that. It may be too close or too far from the bed. I actually had it quite close to the bed to begin with, and I've since moved it up just slightly. I had to do a live Z adjustment of about minus 0.797 millimeters, I think it was, and now I'm at a point about 0.73, something like this. So adjusted it slightly, but again, as you see, the top layer coming out very nicely. The only thing I would say you can see is a bit of deformation on the deformation on the S there, and maybe on the A, and I'm not sure if that's where the perimeters, the nozzle dragged across it or something like this. Same with the P and the R. I think that may have had some slight effect on it. Maybe where it's so thin that it didn't have the perimeters on top, but at a distance it looks nice and still pretty good. One of the next ones I did, which I left overnight, was the Eilander Dragon. This I haven't done any touch-ups to any of this, so you can see there's a tiny bit of stringing, but again, from the wing to the neck and the other wing, apart from maybe a couple of little threads on here, no really stringing at all. See a couple of little threads there of filament, but considering how it's had to go back and forth like that, pretty damn good. And this thing just shines. I mean, I can't remember what it is. I think it's 0.15 layer height, maybe, might be 0.1. But I mean, it's just perfect. You can actually see the kind of where it hasn't gone completely smooth, like the polygons almost within it. And yeah, it feels so nice. I've never had filament shine like this one shines, even compared to the other ones with the top layers. I guess this is the side of the layers, that might be why, but yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I put water in it, had a flour in it, and it was absolutely watertight. You can see a couple of imperfections there at the bottom. I'm not actually sure how they come about, but it still is printed absolutely brilliantly. I think you can see a little bit of dodginess under there. In fact, it's actually flat still, so you just see in the bottom of the layer, so it's actually still done that good, even when it shouldn't have. And the bottom of the wings there, you can see a tiny bit of fuzziness right about there. Let's try and focus on that. Focus. Yeah, a tiny bit of fuzziness there underneath the wing, but nothing too major. I did drop it, and that is why there is no tail on the end of that, but that printed pretty well also. And I think if I look around, you might see some layers. There we go, just that bit there. If I zoom into there, you can see that kind of separation there. So maybe it would have done better with slightly higher temperature or something. But other than that, what an amazing model, and especially to have on there to print, because this blows everyone away. So let's put that to the side. Next one we'll show is the bearing. So this is the classic, I can't remember what the name for this type of bearing is, but obviously all the cogs are printed in place, the gears, sorry, printed in place, and the only way to do this is via 3D printing, because of their shape. And if I spin that, you can see that spins absolutely perfect. So I needed a little tweaking to get it to get it spinning at first, but once you just pushed it, wiggled each gear a tiny bit, absolutely perfect. Try and get it spinning. There we go. So yeah, it's a really cool one to show people that, because they kind of get amazed by that. Next one was the whistle. Now the whistle is just wicked. People don't seem to understand how it can make so much noise without a little ball inside it or anything. And also, I think this print's at about 0.1 layer and layer height. And so the print in general is just brilliant. I think you can see a tiny bit of filament there, but that's it. I mean, everything is just wicked on this. So just to blow it to see how it works. Perfect, and actually hurts my ears like a bitch every time I do that. Next one is Joseph Prusa's little pug, and again printed wicked. I think you can actually see there, so it might be set on alignment, which is where every new layer starts on the same line, or maybe near, I'm not sure, but usually that's actually good because you don't get these little random spots all over the place instead. So I tend to have that on my prints. I do I set those to alignment. That you can see some up the neck there also, but it's better. I find it better to have it in one place, and then you can hide it rather than dotted all over. But yeah, it's pretty much a simple print. Not actually too much detail on this, but I guess the layer of the skin and the muscle on it kind of is that detail, but nothing too fine. But again, printed perfectly, and the thing just shines again. I mean, you don't need to finish this filament or any post-processing because it looks so good. And again, I mean, you can't even really see layer lines on this, so that's amazing. Okay, this one is the Triceratops skull. So this is the first print I did that had supports, and you can see here the supports have come off, and look at that, pretty damn good. Not really anything to do there. I mean, you could give it a light filing or a light sanding, but there isn't much left on there at all compared to when I was on my Flash Forge Finder, and it was a nightmare just to even get the supports off and then to get all the bits that the support left behind. And I think it's at about 0.5mm gap from the supports to the actual piece, so very small gap, and yeah, the thing just works brilliantly. So as you can see, this is a very kind of a lot of data on this file for the scan, so there's loads of ridges, loads of tiny little bumps of the skull, and it's all come out great. Again, with this print, I guess maybe because there's so much detail on it, you can't see layer lines at all, full stop. The horns have come out nicely. You can see in the mouth where there was some support material, because there's a couple of bit of string in there, but again, just a quick clean up and that will get that done. And then we flip it over here, there's all support material here, and again, it's a bit harder to see because of the shininess of the filament, but any support material comes off so cleanly, and all in all, another wicked print to go with my bigger T-Rex skull. So maybe I have to print one of these out big. I feel like that would be pretty damn good. And then before I get to the last one, we have the vase. So this thing is actually really solid. Again, the bottom, I just love feeling that bottom. It is so smooth, it's amazing. So every single line here is immaculate. You can see the top, look inside, you can see down there. So you can see where it must have had a line, and every new layer has worked perfectly, or at least near. And yeah, I mean, obviously you can't see that from the outside, but yeah, it's small, can't really fit much in it, but it's so solid, and this gives it extra strength. These lines, which are solid, they're not, you can't move them at all, they're not bending. Just a really good print. Took quite a while to print. What I found is that the files came with an estimated time on the file name. So for example, the Batarang, I think it said about 20 minutes or something like this, or this was 20 minutes and that was like 30 minutes. Yeah, this one was like maybe half hour, and this was about 40 minutes, something like this. The Dragon was meant to be about 12 hours, but it took about 13, 14, something like this. So yeah, everything took a bit longer. And the longest print of all was this castle. So an amazing little file, amazing 3D model. And so there's a few imperfections, but nothing major. I mean, you can see where there was some stringing on here. I think a bit of it broke off, but again, that's just one quick knife blade chop off. The points, really impressed with the points of the tower spires here. I mean, you can't get much sharper than that on an FDM printer. So, and considering this is the highest point, so it would have been doing this point by itself. And look, no kind of deformation, which tends to happen with a lot of printers when it gets to a point like that, and it's not going to another piece of the STL and then coming back. It's just on one bit going round. So it's done a really good job there. Detail is quality, the layer lines. Now you can see some more string in there. There's a bit more string than the other models there. And if I look down, you can see some string in there. So there you go, the light is lighting it up nicely. So that's quite a bit of string in there. So I'm not sure why it's done on this one more than any other model. Some between those two spires there. But again, you've got to remember this is on just the basic settings. I haven't changed anything else on these ones. I did them all, well, obviously they were all set with that G code, so I couldn't adjust it. So I couldn't add any adjustments that would try and reduce stringing. And I'm just thinking there was some separation on one bit of it. Oh, so let's see if I can find that. So where are we? Let's have a look around. So we've got the stairs. So you can kind of see some there. If you zoom into there. Now on those pillars there's a bit of dodginess, but nothing too major. And that's pretty much the only fault with this, which is just not really much to say about the printer except it's amazing. Yeah, so they were the test prints I did. I've obviously done some other prints now, but these were all the ones that came with the printer. I did print, if I can grab it, in black, a Bruce Willis little figurine, so for Die Hard. At first, it was hollow at the bottom, this platform, so it mucked up, so I printed it with a raft, but cut the kind of base away, and it turns out I must have not done it properly, because this is what the base came out like. But you can see PLA, this is black, excuse me, just adjust this, this is black BQ PLA. So there's just some kind of fiddly stringy bits which a heat gun would get rid of, except I don't want to have one at the moment. But again, look at the detail on that, it's brilliant. The guns, the bags, it's a shame he hasn't got bare feet, actually, it would have gone well. But yeah, the detail's perfect, and there was a hell of a lot of support material. So that's why there's little kind of wispy bits everywhere, because the whole model pretty much had support material around it. So this took about 20 hours to print, something like this, 23 hours maybe, and was done at 0.1 layer lines on the optimal settings. Now, there is one more test print also, which I didn't do, and that was the frog. So the tree frog, which you may know from Thingiverse and see other people doing it, actually failed about 4 times. Every single time I tried it, it failed. And that was at 0.05mm layer lines, so the lowest of the test files, and it just wouldn't print. Every time within about 10-15 minutes, it would just lift up and get knocked off. So I think, but I have heard from people that there was a problem with that actual file, so I might try slicing it myself and printing it, or just printing something else at that fine detail just to see how it turns out. But most stuff I wouldn't print at that detail because you just don't need it, unless you're trying to do something tiny, like some type of figurine. But most stuff I print at usually 0.2 or 0.3. And I have some other prints I'm doing, but they'll be in another video, and there'll be some stuff will be trying to sell online. And I will show that soon. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll try and get some more updates very soon showing the Prusa I3 MK2 and other prints. Bye for now.